I just want to set the stage for what's at stake right now for StirredUp. I think he's missing the mark. I just want to say, like, that's where I'm at with that. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
Thank you for reminding me I'm not everything in the world.
Welcome.
Welcome to StirredUp.
Welcome to StirredUp. I'm Heath.
I'm Jess.
Woo! Okay, it's been a couple of weeks since we've been together, and we don't know where to start.
I know. We have renewed energy. A lot going on.
Now we're both sweating.
I'm we're sweating.
Now I'm gonna clash with the set. Whatever.
No, it's okay. You look gorgeous.
Thanks. Same. I love your outfit, by the way.
Thank you. It was inspired by your coat.
I told Jessica she was gonna get pawed at.
I said it was on the table.
It's Friday.
Yeah, the wine's flowing.
Right. You
Might
worked
as
hard
well.
all week. I worked hard all week.
Yeah, big girl job.
Big girl job. What about you?
Love to be in familiar territory.
Yeah.
I am trying not to lose sleep about Christmas coming. I listened to a Squawk Box market report thing that was actually happened right before Thanksgiving. And the guy on there was like, there's 5 less days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. The guy didn't understand that impact to retail earnings. He was just like, well, we'll make it up. There's still 365 days in the year. And I'm like, bro, that's why I'm stressing. There's not enough time, and everybody starts shopping on Black Friday, or you risk wasting money. You got to make sure on Black Friday you get your deals, or that deal season, it doesn't really happen that much more before. So I am a little bit stressed. I have a white elephant gift I need to get by tomorrow, and I have nothing prepared whatsoever.
What is the limit?
I don't know. Whatever I want it to be.
What?
I don't give a shit. No, there is a limit, but I don't follow rules. Are you
Just
joking?
go get a bottle of bourbon or something. Is it
right.
for work? Or
That's what I mean. No, friends.
Friends.
And I want to put some StirredUp stuff in there. I just don't know it. I don't know. I know I'll have to figure it out tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But that's tomorrow morning.
That's
what
funny
it is.
that stresses you out.
Yeah, all the gifts. And so here's the other thing.
Don't get me wrong. I'm stressed by a certain amount of things at this point about Christmas. Yeah.
It's consuming me. I also don't want to give Amazon garbage. I'm having a really hard time. I'm ready to cancel Prime. I'm not fully there, but I'm thinking about it with every visit to Amazon I make. I think, couldn't I buy this somewhere else?
Okay, so also aligned to that, I'm not ordering people crap off Amazon for Christmas. I'm just not going to buy you anything. But,
or I want to pick out something that is handmade, that is local, or even not local. There's a couple of gifts that people recommended to me on a LinkedIn post that I did, and they are creators that they know.
Perfect.
More expensive than I would but I would rather do that. One nice thing that went to a local community than 12 pieces of garbage that you're going to throw away because it's garbage.
That goes back to your earlier point about market audience.
Yes.
I'm also there as well. I would rather not receive or give anything that's not going to last and that's a pile of shit.
Yeah.
I recently ordered $700 worth of shit from Amazon. I read every review. I looked at every picture. I had the cart for a week before I hit the trigger. Yeah. And I'm sending 40% of its back.
Oh my God, are you joking?
Mm-hmm. This rug was one of them. On the internet, it looked like I was getting a 3-inch.
That's so frustrating.
And so it's fine.
Yeah. But it's not what you wanted.
It's not what No.
Okay, here's my thing.
Okay.
It's so much work. That's why I think I'm losing sleep.
Doesn't feel like work to me.
Oh, it's burdensome to me. Because
I've almost thought about a business where I'm people's gift errand. If
I've read every gift guide, I'm dying. But I'll pull it together. But it's not me to procrastinate
don't
either.
overcomplicate it though. Think about clay and painting.
Oh, those are the easy ones. That's not the problem. You should see the hiding spot in the basement.
So after Thanksgiving, Mike and I went to New York City for 5 days for a celebration of my soon-to-be 40th birthday.
Have you been at this time of the year before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Nothing new
but
for you.
Not just with, new, for sure. But not just with my husband, either by myself for business.
Sure.
Mostly by myself for business, or with colleagues for business.
Oh, sure. So mostly business.
And then the summers with family, with my kids.
Got it.
But never with my husband, never with my children, never in a capacity where,
You could do the things that you did.
We did the things. We saw Wicked on Broadway.
Cool.
Went to a Rangers game. Was 4 blocks. What what street was the Hilton on where the United Healthcare CEO was assassinated in the back?
I don't know, but Midtown, where there's not been a shooting in...
Right. I stay in Midtown. So I stay on West 44th Street. It's less than a 5-minute walk.
Yeah.
We stay in an old hotel called the Algonquin. It's a Marriott property, but it's like one of those boutique-y ones. And I stay there because they allow animals and they have a cat.
But you didn't bring an animal or a cat?
No, the cat stays there.
Oh, cute. I do like that. But you can bring animals.
I'll send you
then you can see everybody else's animals.
The profile's been an Architectural Digest. Like
cool.
the cat's Hamilton. He's rescued from the Humane Society, which, you know,
can I give you something relatable?
Yes.
Out here at the corner store. Do you know the corner store that I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course I know the corner store.
20 and 30.
Yeah, my mom had to meet me there today and pay for my gas because I didn't have my debit card. 40. She didn't even get stressed. She's like, all right, I'll be right there. I was going to run out.
I know. I'm not surprised.
In Mike's car in 19-degree weather. I was like, this cannot happen. I need to call my mom.
Oh, my God. Okay, the corner store has a cat, and Peyton loves it. And will, like, ask to go to the hardware store. Like, if Matt's going to Ace Hardware, she's like, no, let's go to the corner store. Let's go see the kitty. It's so cute. Cats in Midtown New York City and cats in BFE.
Everywhere.
So relatable.
So my point in telling you where we stayed is the hotel is so old that there's no screens on the windows. And I get hot and the heat isn't regulated well. So we just we kept the whole window open with no screens and so much safety. Danger, but lovely. And that's why I love it. I feel like I'm at home in New York City. The taxi cabs and the sirens and the honking remind me of like the crickets and the frogs. Like that's the stirred up part of my personality.
So
do you know what I mean? It's just as soothing.
Yeah.
And early that morning, it wasn't just a normal, like the day has started in New York City. Like the amount of sirens that I heard told me I thought something was burning. Is what I thought.
It was like definitely alarming.
Definitely alarming.
Noticeable.
Definitely noticeable. And it was just Mike and I there. So I like to I don't ever watch the news at home. I watch sports. I watch reality TV. We watch
When
movies.
I travel, I watch the local news.
I watch the news. Watch the local news. That's what I do. It makes me feel like I'm part of the community.
Yeah. I just try to figure, where's the traffic?
Right.
What's the weather?
What is happening today in Midtown?
Yeah.
Well, a dude got shot in the fucking back.
And not just a dude.
Right. A CEO of the largest healthcare provider
in America. Yeah.
Who was a Midwest like us, upraise.
I
don't know a lot about him. So again,
4 blocks away is what Mike told me.
4 blocks away.
That's insane.
We walked there and actually went to Central Park that same day and walked around.
Oh my God.
And I'm sure I saw him. And I actually told Mike in the morning that we left, I said, I've been holding this from you for 2 days because I think you think I'm not going to be nuts. But I never forget a face or a demeanor.
I think I have a disorder where I just don't recognize faces until it means something to me. Everything is just a wash. Okay.
I might not hear you, but I see you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I might be looking like I'm zoning out, but I'll remember what you wore today.
How crazy.
And I think I saw that motherfucker in Central Park. Mike's like, I don't think you're crazy. I thought that the whole time we were. So I don't know. It was crazy. And then they I text messaged them to you, and we'll air this. We'll make this part of our content.
The picture.
I
didn't know what that was. So I was
it's
days
a big
behind.
thing in big cities.
It was so I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, why would she send me this?
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on for days.
So someone who always knows what's going on in the world.
I don't think I always know what's going on in the world. Yeah. I think I used to always know what was going on. I used to have a better pulse on it, but I also think it's maybe many of us, it took a mental health choice.
Yes.
I can't have
it.
The news alerts at all on my phone. I will seek it out when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm going to get inspired by something I see on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go look and be like, is this real?
Okay. So I'm in New York City. I hear a bunch of sirens. I figure you're always on top of the news. I sent you a picture of the hotel when Mike and I walked past it for the 50th time that week. And a wanted person sign, literally you see on TV where they print the person's face and
$10,000 reward.
They up the reward. And I sent it to Jessica and didn't get any reaction. So then a couple days later, or a week later, she was like, I want to talk about. So now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I finally figured out what was going on in the world.
Unravel the story for us because you're very good at that.
No, I honestly don't really know if I have the story. Here's what I know. Heather was in New York, sent me some stuff. I had no idea what was going on. I hear that like this CEO has been shot and killed in New York, and then I was like, oh, puzzle pieces. That makes sense. And I learned about this while he was still wanted, but had been seen somewhere. Maybe it was in the McDonald's or something.
He was on a city bike, Central Park, a bus.
Yeah, I hadn't heard any of this stuff at that point. But
that was his very first getaway, was a city bike to Central Park.
Yeah, I heard that today. Because I did then go back and be like, what's the story? Yeah.
We're going to do McDonald's. I didn't write that one down. But
okay, write it down. When I really got interested was when I read his manifesto. And then I was like,
Oy.
This guy's different. And I had heard that he was wealthy. So he's
rich as fuck.
Well, his family is. So here's what I always just think. Like, people are questioning why, if he has all of this money, why does he take it this personally? Like, he had his injuries, right? Like, he was injured. Did you hear that?
His back.
Yeah.
So tell me why. What's his why?
My takeaway was like, hey, feds, I respect what you do.
Feds?
Yeah, like people, police, whatever he called them. I respect what you do, so this is not about you. You do a great job. There's all of this was like some basic CAD, some basic research. It wasn't hard to pull off, is basically what he's saying. So I was like, okay, so he's smart and premeditated and planned. Is narcissist?
Maybe.
I didn't get that at all.
When you write a letter to someone that says it wasn't easy to fool you, but I respect you, that's narcissistic as a fuck.
I don't think that's narcissistic.
You don't think it's
No, narcissistic is like, everything that I do is great, and the only thing that it probably wasn't, it's like factually might not have been hard for him. But why does that have to be narcissistic?
Why do you have to say it? If you're the smartest person in the room, why do you have to say you're the smartest person in the room?
Because he just killed somebody. Like, he's not right anyway. I don't think he's narcissistic. I think that there's like narcissistic people, maybe it is. Like, I just don't think that wasn't my first approach, I guess. Like, I'm willing to sit here and rethink it critically.
Mm-hmm. I think he's an entitled fuck. Just so you know, that's my view. So you have to convince me.
I don't want to convince you of anything. I want to share my view.
All right, got you.
I don't really give a shit what anybody thinks about him because he just killed somebody. Like, so when I talked to Tara about this, so it was a snap between Tara and Lisa, and Lisa and I are like, I see his point.
I know you do.
And Tara's like, you guys, he killed someone. That's not okay. And I was like, So here's my take.
The truth always lays someplace in the middle. I believe that with my whole
soul. And I honestly don't care about the truth.
Really?
Here's what I'm like, this is what I sit with. I feel like his actions were motivated. They could be a number of different things, but like think of the scenario where even if he could pay for his healthcare issues because he has money, what if he knows somebody who couldn't?
So what if you believe he's empathetic is what I'm hearing.
I'm leaving space for the possibility. I don't know. But like maybe he does have a loved one or somebody he met while he was in the hospital, because that happens. Like, oh, I've gone through this hard thing.
You don't have to sell me your scenario. I'm
just saying,
who
like,
you truly think he is. That's who I am.
No.
I'd blow somebody up if you couldn't get your back fixed.
I have no evidence. Right. That's why I think that, because you would do that.
I would.
Yes. And I know people that would. I wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't shoot somebody, but I would absolutely get naked and run a sign. I mean, I would not hurt another life.
Here's where I'm at with it.
I'm not Jesus.
I have no evidence I don't think these things about him. I'm giving some like thought to the possibility of empathy of like a scenario of when someone's pushed to the edge about themselves or someone they love, because maybe he doesn't even have access to his money, by the way. Like, just because his parents have money doesn't mean that he has any control over it whatsoever. He's 26 years old. In our trust and will, like, our kids aren't getting anything from us until they're over 30.
Same. They have to like do like XYZ.
Right.
They have to do some backflips and make some waffles.
Yeah, and he's had some rocky steps aside from health stuff. Like he wasn't completely together.
Tell me.
I don't know the details, but I felt like, didn't he like? I don't know. Did he drop out of school or like had some issues?
Went to a boys' school, a private boys' school, or a super expensive private school, whether
University
it was all boys or not.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
like a good college.
Is that hard to get into?
I don't know. I think all universities are like relatively challenging. You can't be I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
Here's my point.
He wasn't mentally fully there, and he probably wasn't physically fully.
Are we all? Here's my point. I don't think he's like special. I don't think that he's completely insane. I'm holding the possibility is that he loved someone and had empathy, or that he himself was pushed to the brink of no other possibility and getting pissed off. Here's me not wanting to shop at Amazon, and like I'm getting mad about, do we even know where we are trying to recycle cups, and do we even know where they're going? They're probably going in a hole somewhere, and we are getting blamed for it. Like, all of us consumers are trying to just do the right thing, and the companies are taking so much control. Publicly traded companies who are being forced to grow. How can an insurance company be a publicly traded company? Their whole thing is get money from people and then determine whether or not they're going to cover costs for what they paid money for.
Racket.
And incentivized to take less money. Like, they don't make revenue any other way. Take money from people and then determine not to pay out. Like, that's insane. So somebody who's smart and has thought critically about this, him, I think, is then like fucking pissed off and is happy to live his life in prison or die for it. And like is going to make a point. And this happened. People would kill people all the time 100 years ago for lesser things.
That's also facts.
So like, this is interesting. That's where I'm at with it. Like, okay. I don't know the facts about him, but that's where I'm at.
They find him. Okay. What happens?
I don't know.
They find him, but
I literally have.
The manifesto is easy to read. I really think you should.
I just want it to be easy. Like, where is it at?
Healthcare is a racket.
Here it is. To the feds. I'll keep this short because I do respect what you... See, I didn't say the feds. Because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I think that's interesting. I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the U.S. has has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly 42 in life expectancy. United is the indecipherable largest company, so maybe he said, like, is the fucking largest company in the United States by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy, no. The reality is these fuckers have simply, that's what I was thinking.
So you have a lot of time for that, too. Me too.
Have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out there. That's not narcissistic.
Like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, and then he put some Rosenthal more the references decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play.
Okay, time out.
I'm almost done. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. I think that's not narcissistic.
Like, he's throwing himself on the sword for everybody else.
Yeah, that's
why he's starting a conversation. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So you kill a man.
I don't condone that. I think that was like probably a bad idea.
So went to New York City, lived my best life. You were here, not knowing that a man was shot in the back in broad daylight in Midtown, the tourist capital of the fucking globe. Right out in front of the Coca-Cola shit I sent you, that's my social goal.
Sorry, hold on. I can hear this on the audio.
I love that sound.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I wonder if our listeners do. Is that like gross? Do you ever do that?
No. Never done it in my whole life.
It's dripping.
Matt,
it's going to make a huge mess.
Matt.
It's dripping.
She means it.
It's dripping
today.
A huge mess.
It's not even false advertisement over here at the Robinson household.
I do that all the time. I don't want to make a mess.
The deal has been executed.
That's shit. Okay, what else is going on in our lives?
Professionally, I wanted everyone to know that there was a very large there's a lot of things I want to talk about with you, and I think we can just hold them because they're not time sensitive. Does that make sense?
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
You know what? I kind of want to make our holiday special for Christmas, just like shooting the shit anyways. We can do that next week.
I love that.
Okay.
So what I did ever wanted to know is that there was a very annoying, high-pitched sound before we started this podcast today.
So maybe we should set up like a little like thing that's going on.
We've moved.
We've moved.
We divorced my family.
Should I explain why?
Jessica divorced our family, and then I was like, yeah.
Kind of. So we recorded
right.
Budweiser,
Right.
which was so much fun.
So that's what I'm saying.
Listen, though.
A little chaos.
Which is okay. We had so much fun. But it was 2 hours long, and you were getting stressed. I was worried that I did put some, like, outtakes of, like, probably 3 outtakes.
I made you get up at one point, which is not, like...
I know. There was 45 minutes cut from what we recorded versus what we published.
Annoying.
I laid in bed that night, and I was like, we always knew we were going to get a different spot.
Yeah.
But I was like, we're going to have to do this a lot sooner than we thought. I laid in bed for like an hour just thinking about...
How much my family stomps?
No.
They're stompers.
I didn't think about your family at all at that point. I was way past it. I was like, we need a different spot.
We're in solution mode?
Yes.
I love that about you.
Yes.
You don't get stuck too long on the problem.
No.
I just get stuck in the problem.
Stewing, I don't stew.
I stew.
I like move past it real quick and just...
I guess it depends on what it is and who it is.
Okay, so I had an initial thought, this wasn't it where we're at, but I had this in the back of my mind, and Matt suggested this space that already exists.
Go, Maddie.
And I was like, I don't know if Heather's going to go for that, and I don't know how I feel about that, but I'll see what Heather thinks. And if Heather thinks it's okay, then it's exactly what we're doing.
Really?
Yes.
You said that to yourself?
Yeah. And I mentioned it
I didn't think people cared about my opinion that much. That's why
I do. Deeply.
Yeah, me too.
So you said, yes, this is a vibe, is what you said.
This is a vibe.
Well, these boys pulled this room all together.
They did a great job.
We really didn't do anything.
Barely. I mean...
They did it all.
They did so good. It looks so good. We're happy. What are we doing with the shooter? What's happening next?
Oh, nothing. I don't know.
Is anything going to change in healthcare?
No. This is a great question. Here's what I actually think is going to happen. CEOs will require more security, and then it just costs them more money, and then they like squeeze the people more. Yeah, that's what I think.
No, you have to add another cost to the P&L.
Yep.
Got it. So you think, so is he dumb?
No, I don't want to have that like unilateral of an opinion. I am just like intrigued. It's going to make a good movie one day, honestly. 50 Cent says he's working on it. But I don't have any like definitive
50 cents is what you say.
50?
50?
50, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into that story here.
He's a dude.
I love him.
Me too. I just think if he was that, like, to me, when I open my mouth, I try, and sometimes I'm not perfect, right? But, like, if you're not going to meet your objective, why kill a man? What's your objective?
Oh, I think he did meet his objective.
What's the objective? Fame?
Let's go back to the thing.
Is he going to change the healthcare system? You just told me he's not going to change it.
He can't. This is me. I don't know.
Okay.
This is just my prediction.
I
think, like, he's trying. It's only one person. How many more?
We need to shoot more people?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I don't think that's fair.
I'm glad.
I think that would be a bummer.
So upsetting.
Obviously, the problem is more complex, and I do not have the space, and I don't pretend to be the most qualified person. Here's what I think he is successfully achieving.
More people like him?
Everybody's talking about it.
Okay. But if you're talking about it and you're not changing anything, then
maybe
it's all
people
done in
qualified
vain.
to change are doing it. Like, that's an interesting thing to illuminate.
That's what I'm saying. To be continued, I guess, is what you're saying.
Totally to be continued.
Gotcha. Okay.
Totally. Because
was it all done in vain and nothing's going to happen and we're just going to have more cost of the P&L and you and I are going to get squeezed more? Or we're going to shoot more people? Or are we actually going to make a change?
When someone's making a decision to kill somebody, it's probably done in vain. It's not the right answer. So I think we can flatly say that.
Yeah. Aligned.
But
aggressively.
But since
I
he
don't
did
even
it,
like to kill a rabbit.
since he did it, let's talk about it. And
right.
that's achieving his mission. That we are even sitting here talking about it, because we would have never talked about
Healthcare in America. We wouldn't have ever talked about healthcare in America.
No, because it's a conflict of interest for the employer that I work for one. Like, I'm just going to say.
We're not doing it.
It's been a hard no. But
you're only one person.
Yeah, and we're talking about it on a grander scale, which is the right thing to do. I think that's interesting. So I do think he's achieving his mission of starting the conversation.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flat out.
That's it.
Whether something's done.
We're not working through the whole funnel today with this man and this. Okay. We just started the conversation.
Yeah.
You drove traffic.
Yeah.
To the
And
issue.
I'm just sitting here willing to say, like, it was the wrong thing to do. But.
Was the cause wrong?
Yeah, the cause is not wrong. Like,
No.
that's worth
Facts
saying.
are facts. Okay. Tell me, my little nerdy lady.
It's time. It's time for the real tea.
Time for the real tea. Tell
Okay.
me my nerdy self. You said it was a lot more interesting that you told me, like, this is a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. And we wanted to do Starbucks at Christmas because they are, I think, my hypothesis is they capitalize at Christmas.
And that they are a modern, iconic Christmas vibe.
They're the Macy's of our generation.
Yeah, you can't go through Christmas season without
Some sort of Starbucks.
Holiday-wise, I think it's about their specialty or seasonal drinks is like 10% of their sales. I think that's not small. So I think it's PSL kind of that.
10% of sales?
Yeah.
What's the span? 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks?
I think it starts Labor Day weekend for PSL, for pumpkin spice latte.
PSL. You already know the acronyms, you little dow.
I knew the acronym.
Pumpkin?
Like, if you're in, you know.
Oh,
Pumpkin spice latte?
No.
Oh, okay. So tell me. So actually, let's start here. What's your take on Starbucks? Like, what's your personal, prior to doing any sort of research exposure into preparing for this podcast, where did you come in your mindset?
That's an interesting question, and I love the approach. So Starbucks for me was something that wasn't even in my mind as a stirred up kid living in rural America. Like, it wasn't even a thing. In my early 20s to early 30s, I drank 1/2 coffee, 1/2 Coffee Mate creamer. Starbucks still, when I had
And what was
Bennett,
your coffee, Folgers or Maxwell House?
both. Yeah.
Like,
whatever was
whatever.
cheaper. Whatever.
We were a Folgers house, which I still cannot drink. Like, I hate it so
literally rips my stomach into pieces, both Folgers and Maxwell's. Also, Starbucks, depending on whatever is happening in my mind and body physiology, like, it will also rip me into pieces.
Oh, well, coffee then doesn't sit with you well then.
I
Starbucks
think nothing sits with me well if I'm like.
Oh, fair.
I'm understanding how the whole body works.
Okay.
Does that make
All right.
sense?
Yeah.
Like, if I were to eat this most
So it's
healthy
not
spinach in the
so
world.
it's not a diss on Maxwell or Folgers, because anything.
No,
could do
I
it.
actually think it tastes like chemicals, but I didn't at the time.
Okay.
Now I'm just a bougie bitch.
We know what good tastes like, and we're not backing down.
Nah, I'd rather just not drink coffee, drink ice water.
Oh my
tea.
God, I'm so addicted to coffee. I drink 12 cups of coffee a day.
You make me
8 to
nervous
12.
sometimes.
I know.
What
I love
makes it
that.
really exciting about you, though, is you don't smoke anything.
Yeah, no.
Never have,
Not
never
like,
did?
Like, occasionally, but
Like,
not really.
but barely.
Yeah,
And
really
so,
barely.
like, I hope with, like, how organic you are and the way you cook and the way you live your lifestyle and where your family lives, like, I hope that makes up for, like...
Makes up for what?
I don't know. If
My
my water came
alcohol.
out of my sink fucking blue, I might have actually divorced Mike. Like, that would have, and the fact you're like, we're gonna get it tested, and then we're gonna, like, it's just, you know, there's no sense of urgency. And
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? It's 3 years in the making. Like, you can't get it out of the ground now. Like, you would go to Meijer and
thank
get
God someday when this podcast is big and actual celebrities fly their ass to MBS and come sit in the studio and want to see how fabulous we have it, they're going to be like, where's the bottled water?
which I wouldn't do, because
You have water out. I'm excited. I would not drink your water. I don't like the taste of it. I'm
well,
not
so
scared.
this is the thing with
the taste is
it's
weird.
well water. It is but
I had a water growing up.
We'll just table it.
All right, move on. Starbucks. I'm indifferent about Starbucks. You asked what was my customer journey with Starbucks was we didn't have one. We couldn't afford one. Like, even my mom would have actually probably taken us there for special things had we had one growing up.
Yeah,
fair
agreed.
Enough, right? Like, we couldn't afford it every day. Like, my children think we can afford it, which we can't. I got into the whole experience as a family. And I also got into their brown sugar oat milkshake and espressos.
Oh, yeah.
But I very much got into the experience of digital and physical. Makes you feel like you're part of the brand. So I'll stop because I know you gave me a job.
So many things. Yeah. The coffee is like okay to me.
Fucking mid.
Yeah, it's mediocre.
Mid.
What's that mean?
Mid at best. Mediocre.
Yeah, like it's okay.
You're not trash, but you're also not like hustling either.
So for me, I don't go out of my way because we have some really great local options in Midland.
Great local options.
I don't have any sort of, like, I've been a coffee, so same as you, when I was growing up, we would have Folgers and I would put like just as much sugar as I did coffee, and I was drinking coffee when I was like in 7th grade.
I would die.
Kelly Lauer at the time, Kelly Taylor, and I would like come to school with our cups of sugar with a splash of coffee.
We literally used to steal my friends' parents' half-smoked cigarettes out of the ashtrays.
Heather.
On God.
Okay, you're shaming me about my 7th grade coffee. And
I'm not shaming you. Oh. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what's crazy to me. Like, I don't worry about it because you don't smoke. Like, I don't worry about you. I worry about you.
You do worry.
I do worry, but like, if you smoked, I'd really worry.
No, I don't smoke. I don't like it. I just want to set the stage for what's at stake right now for Starbucks, because I didn't realize this so much. Like, I heard some rumblings, but like there's always corporate rumblings of like CEO changes, and it sounds more dramatic than what it is. But when I got into listening to interviews and research, I think something is so much more at stake for the future of Starbucks than any sort of like, well, it's been a bad year and we had to get 2 new CEOs.
Are they getting, so one question, I will not interrupt you again, but my hypothesis was coming in here that just like Anheuser-Busch, who thought that they controlled the whole market of hops and beer, the same way Starbucks has controlled beans and coffee. And now you have these little guys coming in and disrupting your market.
It's not their problem. Well, I'm sure there's a little bit of that potentially, but
they're such an urban
no
loyals.
You will be thrilled by the answer, the real answer. And there's various takes on this, but my take. That's why I'm framing it this way, because we don't know the end of what's going to happen. Like, they're not going to like.
We're telling a story.
They're not going under. They're not going under. Like, they're not going to go away.
Okay.
That's not really the crisis.
They've been like publicly
down
traded.
1% in sales.
Oh, and everyone's panicking.
Well, it's only ever happened 3 other times, and it was the financial crisis in 2008 and 2009, and then the pandemic in 2020, and now this year. But this year, there's not an external crisis for them to be. Why are they doing so poorly?
You don't think we're in an external crisis?
Not really. No. Like, Walmart just announced like incredible earnings, beat their projections.
Walmart did?
They're doing fine.
What about Target?
Target's not, and there's a whole other experience element.
They took advantage of us. They took advantage of a Jessica and a Heather. They said, okay, if you make 6 whatever, then we're gonna give you a sub product for a premium price. And they've realized,
and they banked on the experience of shopping at Target.
There's no fucking experience at Target. Your shit sucks.
No, listen, people would say, when you asked this mid-suburban housewife mom, there's people that I've listened to interviews. People would say, what is your hobby? And these women would say, I just love to go to Target without my kids. That's an experience, if you're telling me anything at all.
No, I mean, Target feels like a job to me.
Okay. Me too, because shopping is a job. But
culture changes, therefore market changes, therefore the business has to change.
Yeah.
Eventually. Not saying how soon, that's case by case. I'm in a different point in my life, and the world is in a different point in the world.
This is true.
where I would still be a loyal Target shopper if they realize that I also grew up. I don't need to go to Target to escape my kids anymore.
Yeah, but that's okay, fair. But there's still moms.
What
that
was
do.
the why?
So, so your point was you gave me two.
Why would you not grow the pie? Why would you focus on the original pie?
Well, it depends on the size of the original pie, and like maybe you're spending your money elsewhere, and you've never the age where you're at. And what you're doing.
We were the original pie.
I know, but you're thinking about you, not a market of.
I'm a market. We're a market.
I know, but you were talking about what you represented 8 years ago, and that's been their target market. I guess
my arrogance and my bias is the why that women went to Target when their kids were 2, 4, and 6 was because they needed to get the fuck out of their house, and having a Starbucks, and shopping. Yeah. Was like a relief for them. Yeah. Now that my kids don't mentally drain me, or like I don't need to go to Starbucks or Target just to get away. Now I'm like, your prices are bullshit, and you're fucking.
So I'm my counter to that is that like you as a market may not have ever been, you as a market now may never have been what their market was. Like they need to still focus on what you were when you needed to get away because they were an experience. Their whole strategy was be a discount retailer, but at a premium high enough that they could make the whole experience enjoyable. And the argument right now, this whole thing aside, what the market analysts are saying is that because we're in a recession enough that is too much of a luxury. I can't go to Target to spend $100 on the robe. That's still too much of a luxury right now.
Just because I want to walk around without my kids.
Yes. Okay, yes. I got you. I need to go to Walmart and Aldi because I need to save that extra money.
I'm doing that. Yes. And I don't even know if I just am.
And Target's making some misses in their approach in response to that because they are still an experienced brand, but similar, I'm going to pull this back to Starbucks. Yeah. Because they're a publicly traded company, as soon as you scale back, you can't make experience investments. You then become a dollars.
You feel passionately about that. Experience doesn't matter.
I had.
I know.
So my whole point of view on Starbucks is that experience has been their own differentiator. Mm. They're still just a coffee company. They get their beans from, like, I can't remember the number, I could find it real quick, like 30,000 different farmers. Like, it's not like they have special beans. When you go to the corner store or wherever you're going, probably not Poulters and Maxwell House, but you're getting the same beans that you're getting from Starbucks. Starbucks has 3%, they consume 3% of the world's coffee beans.
That's it.
Well, that's it, or like that's incredible.
I don't think it feels like that's it for me relative to the context of the businesses that we've been in.
Flavor comes from roasting, and they roast their
formulators again. Formulators matter.
They are their own roaster.
Oh.
And they take,
unlike Coke,
and they take that very seriously.
Okay.
So if we are going to talk about sustainability a little bit, climate change affects their beans from a source perspective. Like that's an issue for them, whether it's supply or
care. They have to care.
They do care. Whether or not like the end of life on their cups, we can talk about that in a second, but like that's a whole, just a big problem.
A lot of color on those cups too.
Yeah. So, so we'll just hit it real quick. Even if you go back to Starbucks and you put it in the recycling bin, there's been some like investigative evidence on like a news channel like CBS. My mom sent this to me. It was really interesting. In every case, they went to landfill, even though they were in the recycling bin at Starbucks. But in some cases, they were attempted to go to be recycled. But the processing point, they evaluated that like it couldn't be sold, or because there was whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So in every case, like if you think you're recycling your fucking Starbucks cups, it's going to landfill. Okay. Here's something else that I think is really incredible. So they do care about sustainability because it affects their beans. They are their own roaster. Coffee is an incredibly lucrative business if it's done right. That's the point right there.
What does done right mean?
So it depends on your business model, right? So I actually think that that's why we have a whole bunch of local coffee houses. This is just a hypothesis, but like Midland has a roaster locally, and we have a whole bunch of local coffee houses. I think they're making bank.
They gotta be.
What the CEO, the longtime CEO of Starbucks, we're gonna talk about him a lot, I think. he said in an interview when there was early days when he had first taken over, because he wasn't like the OG founder, but he's who made Starbucks what it is today. His name is Howard Schultz. He said they were making 80% margin.
Like specialty. Like, what's the average commodity business make?
Well, a lot of the companies that we define commodity, but a lot of the companies that we talked about in the
if you're
past
less than
episodes,
20% for me, you're a commodity. You better be pumping out the fucking volume. It might be an ignorant statement, but like if you're making less than 20%.
Everybody that we talked about so far has been.
Less than
like
20%.
in the last handful of episodes. So
the volume is huge. Shein.
Yes.
Abercrombie.
Well, Shein, we don't know.
Budweiser.
They're privately.
We don't know.
Yeah.
The
but
volume. We do know the volume because we know what's happening.
Well, in Starbucks volume, there's billions of cups a day.
Billions.
Yes. They're like, they're almost as big revenue-wise as, so they're 36 billion. And what did we say? About 40-something billion for Coke?
Yeah.
So they're not that far behind.
They're just roasting the beans and making the K-pops.
Mm-hmm. And they're in like 32 countries. They're a mega conglomerate.
How did this all start?
It started in Seattle as a roaster, kind of like roaster and espresso, sort of dabbling kind of in espresso early on. The founders, they came up with Starbucks in a really weird, funny way. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but like nothing was, in my opinion, taken very seriously. Howard Schultz came along. They had like became 5 restaurants, or like 5 coffee stands, really would be more appropriate to describe them.
Like a street cart.
Basically, I feel like they were in like farmers markets, but that was just the gist that I got. I don't know if that's exactly accurate. But they were like a bean wholesaler more than they were anything. And they just happened to start like brewing coffee or making espresso. 5 different locations in Seattle, and Howard came from Xerox, but did very well as kind of like the regional guy. Or
sure.
They were the only regional. Whatever his job was, he did pretty good at it.
Rocked it.
Yeah. Decided when the founders were retiring and they were ready to sell the business, he was going to take it over. He became the CEO. He took it public in 1992 only because it meant something to him personally. It was like a prestige. Isn't that kind of crazy? Mm-mm. I don't know. That was so interesting. It was an ego move, totally. But along the way, when he became CEO, they went
because he wanted everyone to clap for him. That's a whole thing.
He came from a poor family.
A whole generation.
He came from a poor family where there was like debtors calling all of the time. And so he was like, we'll never be in debt as a company. Like he had a lot of childhood issues that he reflected on in how he ran Starbucks. He grew crazy, like just opened a whole bunch of stores, some of it organic, but a lot of it was like, they're making an assload of money on a cup of coffee. So every time they opened a store, that store could pay itself off in 2 years. And they would just keep like buying companies that they would just like acquire these little coffee shops and like kind of micro coffee chains in regions. And that's how they would just enter regions.
M&A.
A lot of it was, but like doubling or quadrupling
regional
their business.
M&A, like the business model.
Yeah, like just to
regionally acquire.
Just to get into Boston, that meant that they had to end up like acquiring a whole chain of. What I think is the biggest aha and most interesting thing about Starbucks growth, not Starbucks today, but Starbucks that we always have known it to be, is that they are an experience brand.
Lady.
He says, people first. So they call their people partners. The people who
work for them, or people who
work for them are
who
partners.
Go through the drive-through.
No, those are customers. Their partners are the people who work for them. And he was the first company to give part-time employees equity into the company. They call it the beanstalk. And some of it is given equity and some of it is employee share, like an employee purchase program that now I think is commonplace at most big companies. But he was the first to introduce anything like that. I just want to say, I think there's 3 things that Starbucks did that's special. Like, this is what Howard Schultz did as the CEO of Starbucks for like 30 or 40 years or whatever the number was. So he did long-term CEO, had a CEO come in, like he was ready to leave Starbucks, retire, or do something different, he's had to come in 3 more times.
Stop.
Yes.
Because he's the only one who understands the brand?
I think he's the only one who understands the experience brand.
But you can't understand the experience if you don't understand what it is to be a cult member of the brand.
I agree with that deeply.
He loves
I think
it.
that's going
whether,
to be...
Whether or not you want to judge him or not.
I don't judge him. I was skeptical, and now I'm in love with him.
Stop. You never like anybody that much.
I know. So here's what he did. 3 different things. Partners first, customers second, shareholders last.
First his employee.
Yes.
Then his customer.
Yes.
Then you fuckers who want the dividend.
Yes. Because if you do 1 and 2 right, the third will come naturally.
How does that come without bias? That's what I'm seeing right now. I think that everyone has the right intention, but the bias like crashes it. That's why they brought him in 3 times.
I don't know. A couple of examples. He was the first to ever give insurance to gay couples in the early 1990s.
Is he a gay man?
No.
Really?
He just believes in like being a good person.
Really?
Like he said it a million times.
That is shocking for a man.
When entering China, they offered coverage to employees' parents and grandparents of their part-time staff because they knew as a part of culture, like you're in China, you take care of your family. Like that's a big deal. So your parents,
mom and dad will come to work if grandma and papa are taking care of the babies.
Oh,
work.
I didn't think of it that way. I'm thinking like these are high schoolers who work at Starbucks. Like I'm talking about baristas.
What do you mean?
Baristas are like not necessarily people. I'm picturing. A lot of people are like, this is their first job. He's always called it. Howard Schultz has called this like, this is a great first job.
Like McDonald's.
They employ, but better. He specifically talked about McDonald's and that they're like not quite doing it right, but they've made improvements. 500,000 employees right now work at Starbucks. More than 5 million people have worked at Starbucks, and he considers it a great first job. So if you, Heather, are 17, 18, 19, 20, or like you're doing this while you're going through college, and not only can you get your own insurance, but you can cover your parents who might not have, they're making tough, this is specifically China. They didn't do this everywhere, but it was a thing because of the culture in China. So he was problem solving in the same way that he did for gay couples in the United States. Like it was a thing, they had a pain point, they weren't being covered. And he's saying, but if you work at Starbucks, you will. He worked with universities to make free education for his employees, programs that just didn't exist then. Experience in people. It's a publicly traded company so 1992, he did that because of his ego. Like, I think you can almost flat out say that. But now the CEOs that come in, and I think the current CEOs, they've had 2 CEOs this year.
This year?
Yes.
That's tumultuous.
So Brian Nichols is the CEO of Starbucks today, and he ran Chipotle and Taco Bell before that. And he's known for turning around restaurants. But Howard Schultz has had to teach investors a million times, Starbucks is not a restaurant. We are not in the restaurant business. We are a retailer and an experience brand. And he's had to, it made me think about how much experience matters and how little you can really measure it.
It's tough.
There's 3 things. Partners first, customers second, shareholders last. So he focused on people. He focused on the experience. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then coffee, they're a coffee company, not a beverage or a restaurant company. Those are the 3, like, to me, like the groupings of insights that I thought Howard Schultz did. When they acquired the company that had the Frappuccino, they didn't do the Frappuccino themselves, like, organically. They acquired the company that had a Frappuccino that once they put it in all of the Starbucks stores that were already growing very well, doing successful, it became a hit. Now, he never liked cold beverage, but that's more than half of their beverage sales now. Beverage sales are like 80% of all of their company revenue. So, like, sure, the food is a little bit of an add-on.
They have to have it. Add it to the cart, get some basket.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, but beverage sales is what...
The bread and butter.
Absolutely. The cash cow. Hardcore. And what I, again, loved about Howard is he was like, I didn't like it. But it's not always just about me. We can always try it. Like, whatever. We'll just go do it. And whatever works, we'll support. He went to Coca-Cola and Pepsi in the same day and said that they were ready to bottle the Frappuccino for the first time. They've never done anything like that. Coca-Cola didn't get it. And he flew to Pepsi, and they're like, when do we sign the contract? Let's rock and roll.
Stop it.
In the same day. So I want to talk about the experience piece because
me too.
I think this is like interesting. I think you'll find this like super insightful.
No, I will. I got sucked in.
Howard thinks the app is where the company went wrong. The Starbucks app where you can order ahead. They're experience company, and now the app has made them transactional. And I think he's not wrong. He said, I'm not focused on anything other than the customer experience. The mobile app created unbelievable convenience, but we are an experience brand. It became so seductive to the company, but began to deteriorate the sense of community rapidly. Then, disproportionately created an environment in stores that the mobile app became the primary vehicle and the largest source of dissatisfaction. Can you feel that? Like, isn't that interesting?
I need you to actually probably, I'm understanding you because I understand you. Only because I'm versed in the subject. If it was you were talking to me about something
like
that
a regular
was the first
person
time you were introducing me, I would be confused.
So let's picture this.
Yeah, I got
the
you.
morning coffee route. The morning coffee crowd is a huge revenue source for them. It's their primary driver. Like it's not the only thing, but it's what matters most if you're talking about their beverage coffee industry. 60% of Starbucks morning business in the United States right now goes overwhelmingly through the app now. So they're just ordering.
It's transactional versus an experience.
Exactly.
And you invested too much.
Then they walk up and
you did such a good job with the experience. Now you're just getting these people to transact.
Yes. And what's
the problem with that?
Define me a commodity company, Heather.
Transaction versus experience. You're going to be a me too, then you better differentiate yourself by experience and investment and relationships and service.
Now let me tell you what Brian Nickel, their current CEO, says he's going to do. We're going to put guardrails on customization because it will ruin the beverage and ruin the experience for everyone involved. And a brewed cup of coffee is the most profitable beverage. So you're going to go away from, what did you tell me was your favorite?
The experience,
blah, 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 blah. No, but you had like some fancy, like long order. Does everybody at Starbucks have a long order? Yes. Like that is the point of going to Starbucks because you can customize your beverage to the...
My husband gets so embarrassed. Mike's like, just order fucking coffee. I'm like, bro, that's why we're paying $9. Because we can be a little more annoying.
Yes, okay.
Like at McDonald's.
This is what...
I need you to explain that to me.
We're putting guardrails on customization because it will ruin the beverage and ruin the experience for everyone involved. But that's the whole reason everybody goes to Starbucks.
I'm not paying $9 unless I'm getting exactly the way I fucking want it, or I'm going to make that shit up in 2105.
Their current CEO, who brews an Americano at home by himself, he does not go to Starbucks, by the way, says that a brewed cup of coffee is the most profitable beverage. So they're going... They're going to transaction. They're going to revenues, shareholder value over everything else.
After all these years?
Yeah.
He's going back to basics. Whatever you call basics. Like no ingenuity, new creativity.
Starbucks invented the customizable beverage.
Lady, I want to read you something.
Okay. Hold on. Can I give you one more thing? He says, the other thing he said, I wrote these down because I wanted to make sure we said them. He's going to make the world's greatest croissant and limit the breadth of food options. First of all, who needs the world's greatest croissant? Did anybody ever ask for that?
I don't even like the fuckers.
Me neither.
Mike always orders them.
I think he's missing the mark. I just want to say, that's where I'm at with that.
Starbucks' marketing strategy heavily relies on creating a consistent premium brand experience through a mix of digital and physical channels, which is how I told you I got hooked because I got a Starbucks gift card. Mm-hmm. If you downloaded the app, you can shake the snow globe.
Which I think is like such a gimmicky thing.
I have such an affinity for snow globes.
Wow. I think it's so gimmicky that like if an agency presented that to me as a brand, I think I'd like vomit on the table.
Well, that's what you always have to remember. Like, just like you remind me, like you're not the whole brand.
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
Thank you for reminding me I'm not everything in the world.
But you are to us and everyone.
I'm just kidding.
I love you.
Just kidding. I know.
You know what I mean? It's easy. I get my own biases. You get your own biases. That's how this works.
But I'm just saying.
It worked for me because I'm an 80s child who fucking loved those goddamn snow globes.
Okay, so what happens? Hold on. What happens when you shake the snow globe? What happens?
The snow falls. What do you want to happen?
Like, what happened on the app?
See,
what makes it worth it?
You shake it, and it's like a child nostalgic McDonald's marketing.
It does. It worked for you.
And then when you shake it, it's like you get a free coffee.
Oh, okay.
Or you get $1 off.
So there isn't wholly...
Or you get a point. They have combined the digital and the physical channels. Okay, here we go.
And it worked for you.
You love it.
It really did work for you.
I was the fucking target audience.
Okay.
Why I gave up?
Do you think it's going to work for them in the future? Do you think the
It's
app
not working for me right now.
Okay.
Culture changes, market changes, strategy needs to change.
Yeah.
Tactics are part of the strategy.
I question... So here's what I really think happened with Starbucks. The Howard Schultz of it all was a really good strategy, and I think it would still work. I think he didn't teach his people that he worked with. Like, he let outsiders come in. I think the organization was too wrapped up in, like, listening to him as a leader, and he didn't cultivate that well enough to carry on the legacy of what Starbucks is. And his leadership went out of the status quo of a publicly traded company of partners first, customers next, then shareholders. I think now all of the leaders that have come after him have said shareholders first, partners next, customers, or some other version
Unless
of that.
your shareholder is your audience, then you're going to fuck it up. Long term.
That's just how it works, though. Brian Nichols became CEO in, like, August this year. The stock price went up so much that it was $21 billion in value.
All it means is he has a bunch of rich-minded like people who think like he does. But at the end of the day, we're the fucking buyer.
It's just a vote.
At the end of the day, the consumer has to remember we do have our dollar does drive power. Starbucks marketing strategy heavily relies on creating a consistent premium brand experience through a mix of digital and physical channels. Focusing on personalized marketing through their loyalty program and mobile app, utilizing social media engagement, and maintaining a recognizable visual identity with their iconic green serene logo, all while emphasizing a focus on sustainability and community engagement.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody says.
That's what I'm saying. This approach allows them to cultivate a loyal customer base and position themselves as a lifestyle brand rather than just a coffee shop. The key aspects of their marketing strategy, which I believe is an execution of the brand and the business strategy. Strong brand identity. The instantly recognizable green siren logo and consistent visual design across all platforms are key elements of their brand identity. Personalized marketing. Leveraging customer data collected through their mobile app and loyalty program to deliver tailored promotions and recommendations based on individual preferences. That's what we're all aiming to do.
But does it make it transactional?
Hold on.
If you think about anywhere you go in our local coffee shops in Midland, we sit down.
We sit.
And there's a community, there is a space. It is worthwhile.
It's a creator
Starbucks
space,
has deviated from that. And I think they need to go back to that to compete. Brian Nichols, the current CEO, previous Taco Bell, previous Chipotle, now Starbucks. He lives in California. Starbucks is in Seattle. He's ordered everybody to return to the office. They cannot work, corporate employees cannot work remotely. But guess where he lives? In California. So he has a corporate
Do what
jet.
I say, not as I do.
He has a corporate jet that flies him.
It doesn't work with your kids and it doesn't work with adults. As soon as we all realize that, we can move on.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit that he is living in California. That's my point. That's my point.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit.
I'm aligned with you.
Yeah, I think it's so fucking dumb. What I said at the top was this is going to be a moment in Starbucks history that is more meaningful than a 1% negative return this year.
We're at a valley or a peak.
It's going to be, like, Starbucks is not going to just go away. Like, that's not the point. They may not be everything that we experienced with them before. I don't think. I think it's going to be operational, profit margins. It's not going to be partners first, employees, customers second, and shareholders last.
What is your takeaway for Starbucks? Like, where are they at?
Yeah, are we about to clink your clothes?
I want to know what you think.
I prefer coffee chaos.
Boom, bitch, get out the way.
And Live Oak and Creation Coffee. But
could they lure you back, or you're over it?
So it's not like Shein for me, where I'm like, I really have a really bad taste in my mouth.
There.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's just that it's not like the top of my preference. I'm not a loyalist. I think that, so all of that said, like that personal stuff aside, I then also think they're going to just be like a really mediocre brand from now on. I just don't think they're going to be special. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be special. They're going to lower prices. Like they're going to become a commodity coffee company. They're going to be Dunkin' Donuts. But nothing wrong with Dunkin' Donuts. Starbucks extracted a premium because experience did matter. I feel indifferent. Like I don't feel bad about engaging with the brand. How about that?
We're not going to feel shitty like shitty people.
Yeah. I don't feel a shitty person if I choose Starbucks. Fine.
But if I have the choice and Starbucks is next to Creation or Chaos.
I personally would love to choose local for a load of other reasons. And I don't think other people have to do that. If people like their Starbucks experience. What my feeling, my like reaction, my takeaway of all of this is that I think that Starbucks was special. And I don't think they're going to be special anymore. They might still be. People still like coffee in a very transactional way. But I just don't think they're going to be special anymore.
I haven't looked at their app, but I told you, like, I have shaken that fucking snow globe more than anybody. It's actually embarrassing. Like a 40-year-old Sims.
You told me I'm not a smoker, but the way that I'm laughing from my sickness like 4 weeks ago, I laugh like a smoker. You're still shaking the fucking snow globe?
Not this year, but last year I shook
it was
the
last
shit out
year?
of it. I'm gonna
what's your take? Like snow globe aside, what's your take?
What my take
today?
is that Mike Smith makes me coffee every morning at fucking 6:30.
But is it Starbucks brand? I bet it is.
No.
Pikes Peak. No? It tastes like Pikes Peak.
I like Dunkin' Donuts.
Is that what you guys make?
We were buying Costco and I was fine because I'm trashy.
It's a
Mike
dark
was
roast.
like, so I am keeping the door open just like Coke.
Yeah.
It's got a time and a place in my life.
Agreed.
We don't know enough to be critical.
Yeah.
But I know enough to like see what we see
like the writing on the wall
is happening.
Is not like it's going to be bad for consumers per se, but I don't know. I just think it's just not going to be as special. That's where I've landed on it.
And like we're not paying $9 for something that's not special.
Right.
So we're clinking or closing, depending on how your price strategy aligns with your transaction.
I think technically you
want to be commodity, like give us a commodity price.
And I think they will. I really do.
Really?
I do. He said they're going to put price transparency, cut prices.
All right. Let's go.
So we clink.
Clink.
Cheers, lady.
Cheers, lady.
Thank you for listening to Stirred Up. If you like what you heard, please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on your podcast apps. Please send it to a friend. Leave a comment. Add a rating. Every little bit helps. We look forward to seeing you next week.